What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back with another video. And today I speak with Patrick Moore in a recent interview I did with him, and he gives us insight on if Phil Heath, 7-time Mr Olympia, will come back at the 2020 Mr Olympia or at a future Mr Olympia based on the last conversation they had. Also, in my recent interview with Jay Cutler, 4-time Mr Olympia, he gives his opinion on if Phil Heath should come back and go for a record-tying 8th Mr Olympia, or potentially even more after that, become the all-time winningest Mr Olympia. All that and more come up in this video, guys. And if you like this content as well, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up for myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. We've got interviews, we've got bodybuilding news, gossip, all that sort of stuff. So make sure you do subscribe. Anyway, guys, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy this video.
I knew I could only fight off Phil Heath for so long, especially in 10 when he pushed me. He was second. He was coming into his own. You come to that age in your early 30s where it's like, damn, like the physique just gets sharper by the minute, you know, and Phil Heath was just coming on like a train, and he had the balance, like he had the symmetry, he had the proportions, and he had the, you know, the aesthetics that a lot of us didn't have, and we saw it. And then when he won, I mean, that was, I still think 2011 was his best Mr. Olympia physique ever. Although he did get bigger, we all got forced to get bigger. So nothing like to knock on him, because I even got bigger than I should have. And the waist got bigger. And that's eventually what did him in, right, to lose into Roden, was just the overwhelming, just over, you know, I think he just pushed his body a little further than he probably needed to. But we all do that because we want to be better every year, and the critics want to see us better. But you know, he was another guy, like, even though he came after me, like I used to say, like, when this kid hits it, he's going to be like unbeatable, you know? And I think he could have won 10, you know, it's just another one. I'm kind of like, damn, I just wish he would come back and just do it. Oh, you know, he's 40 now, and it's not too late for him, but he could have already won a couple extra by this, you know what I mean? He could have been going for whatever it is now, you know. Don't get so upset about the loss. We all lost, you know, we lost, you know, certain people lost in their career. And then usually sometimes it defeats people or they come back stronger. For me, I came back stronger, but I still think Phil Heath, if he decided to compete, would come in and he would rule the whole circuit.
You mentioned good friends with Phil Heath, and you know, Phil, there's a lot of talk around Phil. Will he do the 2020 Olympia? Will he compete in the Olympia again? Will he compete at all again? Now, you probably know that you're going to get asked this in just about every interview because you are close with Phil, but do you think Phil's going to compete in 2020 or in the future at all? Or do you think that he's sort of done and that he's got a real focus on business? Because I'm assuming the whole thing that's going on in the world right now is probably impacting his decision if he was thinking about competing in 2020 as well.
Physically, he's more than capable of competing. So it's just going to be one of those deals where if he wants to do it or not. And that's the last conversation. We actually talked about that when I visited him, when I was up there in January. So we talked about it then, and I was pushing him. You know, I'm like, come on, man, come back. You have to, because if you do, and then I can be up there, man, it'll be great. Because I started competing, you know, because of him. When I saw him, the friend I told you about that was pushing me to compete, he said, look at this guy, Phil Heath. So that's when I first saw Phil. And so, you know, I aspired to be that, the best in the world. And so I told him, man, how cool would that be? You know, if you're competing, if it isn't your last show, either way, you're on stage, I get to be up there, man, you know, it just didn't get any better than that, you know? So my last interaction with him as far as that was, you know, it's just if he wants to do it, but physically he's more than capable of competing. Like when I saw him in person, I was like, damn, this is crazy. You know, he was in really good shape. So it'll just be if he wants to, man, if he wants to put his body through a prep. I know then it kind of seemed like he was leaning more towards yes. You know, he wanted to, and then he said he would decide around March. Of course, none of us expected all this to come along. So it's probably up in the air for him too, you know, if he wants to compete or whatnot. But I'm sure if he does, he'll make it known once things settle down a little bit.
Yeah. So you want him on stage at the 2020 Olympia?
Hell yeah, yeah, man. And dude, that's the best of the best. It's because if this is his last show, and by some happenstance I'm able to get in a call out where he's at, it's like, well, I got to stand on the stage, with the 7-time champ, because every athlete doesn't get to do that, especially if you see an athlete, it's like, when Kobe played against Michael Jordan. Kobe was coming into the NBA, Michael was already established, so it's like, man, that's how you can really see how you measure up. You get to stand with the best of the best. So it would have just been cool, man, if that's something he decides to do. I mean, it definitely, for me, it'll definitely be special. And I think the fans will really love it too.
That's it for another video. And if you guys want to watch the long form versions of these interviews as well, there's a part 1 and part 2 of my Jay Cutler interview up on the channel right now. The links are in the description. Also, Patrick Moore's interview is a 1-part interview, and he goes into a whole range of topics, including his feud with Sergio Oliva Jr. and the comments that he made on a recent interview, also on my channel as well. So all the links to those videos will be in the description below. So make sure you go and watch those. And if you guys like this content, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and hit that notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up for myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for all the love I've been getting and all the shares out on social media as well lately. I really appreciate it. So if you want to tag in at Desktop Bodybuilding, at Xavier A. Wills as well, I'll share all the tags and stuff that you put up. And people have been putting up heaps of videos of me, of you guys watching me on TV, on your iPads, on your iPhones, all that sort of stuff. And it's much appreciated. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. For Xavier Wills, Desktop Bodybuilding, we are out.